Okay, to solve this equation for the values of theta between 0 and 360, including the 0, let's start by isolating the sine of theta, taking this term to the right side of the equal sign, squaring both sides of that resulting equation, and realizing that performing this step right here could introduce extraneous solutions. So we will have to check our answers regardless of what they are. Over here, when we square this binomial, we get this perfect square trinomial. Sine squared can be replaced by 1 minus cosine squared. It's part of the Pythagorean identity. Sine squared plus cosine squared is always equal to 1. Now we've got a quadratic equation in terms of cosine squared. Let's set it equal to 0. Getting all the terms on the right side of the equal sign. Noticing now that every term is divisible by 2. And there's the quadratic equation that we want to solve right there. Now it so happens that that factors into the product of two binomials. 2 cosine theta plus 1 times cosine theta plus 1 equals 0. By the zero product property, either this factor equals 0 or this one equals 0. If this factor equals 0, then the cosine of theta equals negative 1/2. Or if this binomial equals 0, cosine of theta equals negative 1. That means cosine of theta is the inverse cosine of negative 1/2. What are the angles that have a cosine of negative 1/2? Or theta is the inverse cosine of negative 1. So the angle that has a cosine of negative 1 is 180. The angle that has a cosine of negative 1/2, well, that's this angle, because the cosine, the reference angle is 60 degrees, negative 1/2. And of course, this is a 60-degree angle here also. So this angle and this angle have a cosine of negative 1/2. Cosine is negative in the second and third quadrants. So that's either 120 or 240. And we have these three choices right here. But we realize that squaring both sides of this equation might have introduced extraneous solutions, so we have to check every answer. So if I check 180, I do get a true statement. If I check 120, I do get a true statement. But if I check 240, the sine of 240 is negative radical 3/2. Sine is negative in the third quadrant. And so I don't really get radical 3, I get 0. So we have to reject the 240. And there's your answers, 120 and 180. Okay. Hope that gave you some ideas. And if you have any questions, post a comment. There you go.